welcome to Katrina's Creations. This is episode 236. I have 3 finished objects this week, 2 of which you don't even know what they are. So anyway, I think one of them you do. The other 2, maybe not. So let's get started. The first one is something I was working on. I just started last week and I finished it. There you can see it. This is a knitted cabled hat. And that is actually the name of the pattern, is the knitted cable hat. It is a free pattern over on Lovecrafts. And the link to that pattern is down below under patterns. So yes, it is free and very easy to do. You do not actually need a cable needle to do this because it's only two stitches over 2 stitches crisscross like this way. So you can do it right on the needles and then pull them all off. Or you can use a cable needle, whichever one you want to do. So that is the first one. That is the knitted cable hat. Project number 2, this is one that you have not seen. And I do want to send a special thank you out to Sylvia Allen, because when you see show and tell, you'll see a scarf that she made, and it has this really pretty stitch. It's a rainbow colored scarf. And so I asked her what the name of the stitch was, and she said it was the 3D cluster stitch that was on a tutorial she saw on Fiber Spider. So I went over and checked it out, and I used that to make this. So this is a crocheted pattern, and this is what the top looks like. I intentionally double crocheted through the back loop so I had some ridges. So that's the top, and then this 3D cluster stitch is the rest of it. There's not even like an edging. So let me put it on and mess up my hair, but I'll show you what it looks like. So there it is. Kind of a, I guess it'd be more beanie. And yes, I am going to write the pattern, but I do need to crochet a second one so I can double check to make sure what I'm writing makes sense, because I'm not as comfortable writing crochet patterns as I am knitting patterns. But anyway, there it is. And I really do like this texture that it creates. It almost reminds me of a braid. And by some angles, like when I look at it, some of these lines along here almost remind me like a mock cable for knitting. So yes. So again, thank you, Sylvia, for pointing me in the right direction with that. I like it a lot. I'm going to make some more of these. My third finished object, I finished my granddaughter's C2C quilt, or Afghan, for her dorm room. Now here's a weird thing. This yarn, if you remember a couple of bulky sweaters I made a while back that had a weird kind of a burnt smell to them, I can smell that same smell with this. It almost, when I say burnt, it reminds me of when you first turn your heater on after it's been not run all season and you kind of that burnt dust smell. That's kind of what this reminds me of. And it's very strange because this was knit or crocheted with the same yarn that I used to make these hats with Premier Basics. So I don't know if it has something to do with the dye color, because when I think about it, the other sweater that had that odd smell was jade colored and the other one was like a cranberry colored. So I don't know if it has something to do with the dye itself or what, but it smells like burnt dust. So anyway, hopefully that will wash out. So the finished project is probably about 3.5 feet square. So here it is. And let me see how many stripes. I changed colors every 4 rows. So I have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. I hit the center point midway through the 13th stripe. And then I started my decreases. And I was cutting it pretty close, I will tell you. So let me hold this up so you can see it up close first. There you go. I think we all know what a C2C looks like. This is what was left. So I had plenty of this left. This was pretty tight. Yeah, there's maybe a couple of grams left, that's it. So yeah, there's a couple of the clusters of the C2C that instead of doing 3 double crochets, I only did 2, just to try to conserve, because I was really afraid I was going to lose at Yarn Chicken. So we just made it. So that one is made. My daughter wants one as well. However, I need to take a break from C2Cs. So I'm going to make my son and daughter-in-law's sweater next, or sweater. My son and daughter-in-law's Afghan next, because I bought enough yarn to make one for my daughter, one for my son and their spouses, and then one for my granddaughter for college. So the one I am making for my son is actually these 2 colors. So it's blue and gray. And I like this stitch. It's a lot of fun. So this is what I'm going to do the Afghan out of. It will be striped, but it is going to be out of this 3D cluster stitch. So yeah, that's the one I'm going to be making for my son and daughter-in-law. So works in progress. What have I got going on? I have 2 works in progress because I finished the one hat. And so I started on another because I have some left over of the gray. And these hats that I'm making are going for donations, like for, I think probably, it sounds like my work is going to do a mitten tree this next year. And like a hat and mitten tree. So I think that's what I'll do, is I will just stick all these hats on the hat and mitten tree. And I think it goes to like it goes to needy families. I'm not sure if it's Red Cross or what it is, but they send them out to needy families. So that will work. But I just started another hat. This one is knitted. And so far it is just the 2x2 ribbing. I can't show you too much because it will pop off the needles because they're loaded. But let's see if I can get it close. There you go. You can see what it looks like so far. Not much to look at right now. But yeah, and I will be, like I said, recrocheting the crocheted hat just to check the pattern as I write it to make sure it's correct before I release it. And the next one, I think, since it's more kind of lacy and girly looking, I think I'll pick a little bit girlier of a color. So yeah, I'll be working on that. And then my last knitted project is my plaid Afghan. And here it is for this week. And I think last week I was just getting back into this blue. I'm just kind of randomly doing stripes in here. So it's like I've got lots of the yellow, I've got lots of the blue, and not as much of the mustard. I have the most of the yellow, so I'm putting a lot of yellow in it. So there it is so far. And again, you all have seen them before, but there is the channel that's running up through the center along here, which is where I will chain stitch coming up through here, and that's what creates the striping, or the plaid. The plaiding? It makes it plaid. That's what's going to happen. So that is what I have been working on this week. What have you all been working on? And I'll tell you ahead of time, you guys have been working on a lot because I had to find 2 songs to fill the whole space, and I still didn't get it quite full for show and tell because it's 5 minutes and 17 seconds. So you guys have been very busy this week. So yeah, sit back, drink a cup of coffee or tea, and enjoy the show and tell. Now, I also want to say a big warm welcome to any new viewers that we have. We have gotten quite a few new viewers in the last couple of weeks. If you are watching and you're not a viewer, or well, you are a viewer if you're watching, but I mean, if you're not a subscriber and you would like to be, you can click that little red subscribe button down below. And if you click the little bell-shaped icon next to it and click the all, that will let you know anytime we post a video, which is Saturday and Wednesday. So, and also, I checked right before I filmed this, and we are at 3,175 subscribers, so yay! And I do a giveaway every time we hit another 100. So another incentive, if you haven't already, click that little red subscribe button, because when we hit 3,200, I will be doing another giveaway, and we will be doing that up until I hit 4,000. We might go beyond that just because it's fun. We'll see. But for now, we're going to commit at least to 4,000. So yeah, so just be watching for that. If you already are a subscriber, just be watching, because it will be coming up, and I will make a video and announce it and all that kind of good stuff when it happens. So what am I reading? I finished The Murder, She Wrote that I had told you about last week. I finished listening to that. I am still listening or reading The Butterfly Conspiracy, because it sits in my kitchen and I read it while I'm cooking, and no, I have not burned food at the same time. Although the plot hasn't gotten that deep yet where it's distracting me from what's cooking on the stove. But that's the physical book that I'm reading right now. But I have two audiobooks. One I've started, one I have not started yet. But those two books, and I will put links to those books in the book form down below in the description box as well. Just because in case you want to read any of them, yeah, I will stick them in the Amazon link, and you can get them right from there, as well as any of my favorites list of like things I have and recommend, that type of stuff. I'm going to create a new listing thing in the shop, in the Amazon shop, that will tell you what's on my reading list. So that way you all can, if you're interested in something I read, you can find it all there. So I do like to read cozy mysteries, which are basically murder mysteries without the blood and guts. So sort of like Murder, She Wrote, that type of thing. That's a cozy mystery. So the one I am listening to right now is called Shucked Apart. It's about a family. It's by Barbara Ross. I've read every one of them in the series, and I think there's 7 or 8 of them in the series. This might be even book 9. I think it's book 9. It's about a family that runs a clam bake up in Maine, and they live in Busman's Harbor. For those of you who are familiar with Maine or who live there, you lucky people. I'm missing Maine right now, but anyway, it's based on Booth Bay Harbor. They call it Busman's Harbor, but it's Booth Bay Harbor. So anyway, all of the titles of the books are like clam related. So some of them have been steamed open. This one is shucked apart. So yeah, there's all kinds of different references to clam bakes. So anyway, it's about a family that runs a clam bake, and they have an island in the center of the harbor where they have an old house that was built like in the Gilded Age or whatever, and they are restoring that house. And so mysteries take place in Busman's Harbor. So that's the one I am listening to right now, where some people are stealing some of the, this time it's about oysters, I think. So they are stealing some of the oysters and some of the baby oysters, and so there's been a murder that has gone on about feuding between the oyster farmer people. So anyway, it's really good, and I'm enjoying it. I'm actually about halfway through so far. And the other one that I am listening to, or will be listening to, is yarn related, and it is a series called The Seaside Knitters. It takes place in a fictional town up towards Marblehead, Massachusetts. It's right in the Gloucester, Marblehead area. And so it is a fictitious town. It's written by Sally Goldenbaum, and I have read all of the books in that series. I think this is book 14 or 15. And this one is called A Crime of a Different Stripe. And of course the picture shows striped knitting. So yeah, so anyway, it's a group of knitters of all different ages. One lady's in her 80s, one's in her probably 50s or 60s, the others are in their probably early 30s, and they all get together every Thursday night for knitting time and dinner together at the local knitting shop that one of the ladies owns, and then they get into solving all these different mysteries. So yeah, it's a fun series. So that is the other one that I'm going to be reading as soon as I finish the one that takes place in Maine. So we did have a tip from a viewer this week. Thank you to Mary Wanamaker. She actually sent me an email giving me a link to, it's like an archive of old knitting and crochet magazines that you can get to if you want to look at magazines that are now possibly out of print, or different editions like from years ago that are out of print. So I will put the link to it down below. That, like I said, they do have knit and crochet magazines. They don't have all of them. They have some random ones, but yeah, if you want to look for some old magazine patterns, or things that you're specific looking for, it's a very handy link. So anyway, I will put that down below. So thank you again, Mary, for doing that. Now it's time for... Now our Come and Get It section is sort of short. I say that every week because there's so many that do flash sales, but here in the US it is Memorial Day weekend. So I know that while there's not a lot of huge sales running right now, I know that on Monday there probably, at least there more than likely will be a lot of sales going on. So just stick with me as I run across sales. I will post a short little notice, a little video notice, and let you know. But as of right now, what's going on, now Annie's is running a sale today only. That's May 29th, Saturday, May 29th. It ends tonight at, I think, midnight, Eastern Standard Time. Anyway, they are running an additional 20% off of their clearance. Now their clearance has already been marked down 50% because they're running a May special. But now they are offering an additional 20% off of that. And you do need to use a coupon code. I will put it like right over here, but it is capital letters XTRA20 to get that additional 20% off of the clearance. Lion Brand, and I do have links to all these sales down below, so you can click that and get right to them. Lion Brand, over in their clearance section, now a while back they had this and then they ran out. Well, it's back, and that is the Santa bag. Now Santa bag does not necessarily mean Christmas colors. It is a mystery grab bag basically that is normally valued around $64, I think they said $64.99 is the regular valued price of it. It's 9 mystery skeins of yarn. You don't know what you're getting. They're not all the same. It's just 9 random skeins of yarn that you can get for $14.99. You can't beat that. So anyway, it's while supplies last. And I did check it right before I started filming, and at this point they do have some supplies available. So yeah, give that one a check out. They also have some other items in clearance. They have like mill ends of mandala yarn, and you get 3 skeins. They're not all the 3 the same skein, but you get 3 skeins, and I think it's $9.99, something like that. I've ordered that before. Now they come without a label, but you can look at the colors and figure out what one it is. A mill end means that there may be a little more or less than the normal size skein. We're not talking a huge amount. There might be a couple yards too much or a couple yards too little. It's what ran at the end of a run. It's what's left. So they don't have labels. They don't all 3 match. The color, it's another thing where the color might be slightly off. I mean, you'll know what it is, but if you were trying to match it to another one that you paid full price for, the colors might be slightly off. Maybe, So anyway, I was happy with the ones I got. They were pretty much a good sized skein of yarn. I gave them all away to my daughter and my daughter-in-law and my granddaughter, but for that price, I could do that. So, they're my grandkids. Of course they can, and my daughter and my daughter-in-law, they get whatever they want, pretty much, within reason. Sorry, I'm back. We had a telephone call that I needed to take. And some of you said that you have not seen Cricket for a couple visits. So there she is. There's Cricket. And here's her little leg, all better. Well, it's still a little kind of deformed, but at her age, that's what's going to happen when for those of you who don't know, she tore some ligaments in her leg and had to wear a little cast for about six weeks, something like that. But she's doing better, and she's mommy's fur baby, as you can see. So, yeah. Anyway, we were back at Come and Get It. So I was telling you about Lion Brand. I will put the link down below to the clearance section, which has the Santa's bag and some other stuff that they've got over there if you want to check them out. And then lastly, we have Lovecrafts. And Lovecrafts, I will put a post. And lastly, we have Lovecrafts, and they are having a clearance sale. So I'm not sure what's on sale over there or how long the sale will last. So I will post that down below too, so you can check that out. And I'm going to put the dog down. Now the last thing I wanted to show you was this sweater that I am wearing. This is knitted from the Flax Light pattern, but I just made it short sleeved instead of long sleeved. It is a mix of a bamboo and like a cotton nylon blend that was made by Lana Grossa, which is no longer around. I mean, the company's around, but this particular yarn isn't. By itself, it's very, very snaggy, but when I combined it with the cotton bamboo, it made it a lot nicer. I love this. I have a gray one, which you've seen me wear, I think, in a couple, it might have been last week or whatever. I had a gray one on with like black beads around the collar. That's the same yarn, just in a different color. And I also have a teal color one. But the thing I like with this one, see if I can stand up close enough so you can see it. Oh, here we go. It's got beads. I put beads all across the yoke. So I love it. Only problem is I keep rubbing my hands like this to feel it because it feels kind of neat. So anyway, yeah, I liked all the beads and it was fun. I like doing beading. It's not hard or intimidating, but it is a lot of fun to do. And so, yeah, that's what I'm wearing. So Wednesday's video, I have no clue yet what it's going to be. We'll be both surprised because it was going to be a Knit Crate unboxing, but with it being Memorial Day on Monday, we are not going to have mail, and our mail doesn't get delivered on Sunday. So I'm very seriously doubting it's going to be here in time. If it is, we'll do a Knit Crate unboxing. If it isn't, we'll all be surprised and I'll figure out something to do. So that's it for this week. Thanks so much for watching, and I will see you all again on Wednesday with whatever we're going to watch and do together. So thanks again for watching. Bye, everybody.